Shalom, shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises unto YAHAWAH, Ba'ashem, YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashem, RICANS, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and shalom to mighty Akim, YAHAWAH, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from his final captivity. This is Brother Kawakab coming at you with another lesson. And, well, today it's not really going to be a lesson. It's going to be more of a reaction. Okay, and I'm obviously going to talk about it because I was watching like the first 10 minutes of this video and incredibly funny how someone, okay, Babylon, okay, let me get that because that's the first precept of the day. Matthew chapter 12 verse 26. And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Okay. The thing that made me laugh, because I literally said this. I said this while I was watching it. It's literally funny. I said it's funny to watch this because it is literally Babylonians arguing with other Babylonians. It's Babylonians saying saying what we would say, or arguing how we would argue against other Babylonians. Okay, now the topic or whatever is, it's well, not topic, but the people or the core of this video is T's, all right, versus people who used to be quote unquote T's. I mean, I guess technically they still are, but they're trying to go back to how they started out. So for example, this woman, okay, which I'm probably gonna talk a lot about her, okay, just as the comment sections did. She was born a woman. She transitioned into a boy when in her teens, and then she is, as an adult, she regrets that, and she wants to go back. So now she, like, unfortunately looks like this. All right. So now we're gonna watch this video because most of what she says is actually like it, or she's basically speaking all the right things, the logical things, okay, and everyone else, like, honestly, they're just fucking, they're just stupid. They're honestly just stupid. And I hope this video doesn't get taken down, so next time I'm gonna watch what I say.
Raise your hand if you feel attacked by the opposite side.
Okay. These four, whatever, you'll see.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. Gender-related treatment should be banned for minors.
Okay, now this is one of the biggest things that I guess brothers would be talking about, you know, when they're talking against this, okay? And like, honestly, I don't even think I really need to say much, because she brings out, I think, almost every point, if not every point needed to basically, you know, go against it. So honestly, like, I'm only going to be talking about it afterwards. I'm going to be, you know, summarizing stuff, but well, let's get into it.
I repeat, gender-related treatment should be banned for minors.
Okay, now I'm not trying to be insulting, but because I'm just letting you know, when I first saw this, I was actually trying to comprehend who was who and what was what, because you cannot tell by their appearances. Okay, so I will just say that these are people, the people that went up. 3 out of 4 of the people that are trying to go back to their born, the gender they were born as, they came up, and there's one that is, I guess, for gender related treatment for minors, like people who are 17 years and younger. Okay, all the people that are transitioned, okay, they are for it. Now, one thing that someone mentioned in the comments, find it, was that they said that they are surprised that this YouTube channel Jubilee actually let the DTs in a video. Okay, and I was surprised, and they made a good point, because usually people apparently in their community or whatever, they say that if you are DT, then that means that you are automatically anti-T or whatever. Okay, so the fact that the thing is, Jubilee has been known by anyone who watches them and is able to see all the things as well as hear, and whoever and the people that actually reached out to some of the people that were in it. Jubilee usually is like very liberal, and they try to push out a certain viewpoint only. All right, so the fact that they are only, the viewpoint is liberal viewpoint, of course, and the fact that they brought these DTs in is a huge surprise. I didn't even realize until someone else pointed it out. Okay, so yeah, I thought that was very surprising. Also, one of the examples is there was this dude who was talking. I forgot what he was talking about, but basically, when he was bringing up statistics, the moderator or whatever said, "Oh, you're not allowed to, bring up statistics," and he told that to another YouTube that was reacting to Jubilee. So, that's it, and let's let the thing continue.
Medical transition is no place for a child. I transition as an adult, and I have medical complications. I have mental health issues. Child cannot consent to a medical transition because kids want to eat ice cream every day. It doesn't mean that they should.
I kind of agree with you on that as well, because we have so many rules and regulations when it comes to tobacco or alcohol or any type of drugs. Driving a car, you can't even rent a motel until you're like 25. There's some specific things that we need to put into place that I think would help protect our children, because the minors themselves really don't know who they are until they become 25, 26 years old. Their minds aren't...
Okay, sorry. Yeah, the thing is, the only reason why I'm talking about this is because sometimes they don't really expound upon or push certain points that they bring in, or if they did, they probably edited it out, which I don't doubt that Jubilee did do it. So I just want to say or make known that it is very funny that people want to push for transitions and all that shit, but transitioning, okay, from children under the age of 17, when they can make that huge life-changing decision in that area, but they can't do the same for, like he said, cigarettes, alcohol, and all these other things. Okay, so in that same sense, why are they allowing children to make such a big decision on their own if they aren't willing to allow that same child to make that same a similar decision or a parallel decision that's very life-changing in other areas? Okay, so that is something that needs to be addressed. All right, but they won't really. it does get brought up down the line, but they won't really talk on it.
Developed, and it's just, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit.
So I did transition as a minor. You know, I was a teenager who had a lot of mental health issues and had been sexually exploited and hated my body. And it ended with me kind of finding spaces where that was twisted into, no, you're just a boy in the wrong body. And it ended with me having my first ever medical intervention being a double mastectomy at 16, before any hormones, before anything else. And because of transitioning at such a young age, in the past 6 months, I have watched my body fall apart and waste away in front of me. You know, I have constant joint pain. I've watched my muscle mass waste away. I've watched my vocal cords hurt. I don't know if I'll ever be able to carry a child. The evidence we have suggests that the best way to figure out if gender dysphoria persists into adulthood is to let them grow up. Because a lot of these kids will grow out of it, and many of them will just grow up and end up being gay or gender nonconforming.
Yep.
You need to know what you're getting into.
Okay.
The enemy is everywhere, but he can't be seen.
Why me?
Can the
Fucking goddamn it. 1 second. Slovakia.
Your parents.
Bear with me 1 moment. All right.
You're like 25 until they become this.
You know, I was attending spaces where, and me at 16, young age, you know, I have constant joint, don't know if I'll ever be able to figure out if gender dysphoria, these kids will grow out of it, and many of them will just grow up and end up being gay or gender nonconforming.
Yep.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
Slovakia.
Supposed to be applied the way it has. The American medical industry, we all know, is money hungry and has gone off the rails.
I do agree that there are definitely some doctors out there that may be taking advantage of trans people, and I'm sorry that you went through this. Truly, I really am sorry. But trans kids are valid, and it's not a decision that they're making.
Right.
It's healthcare.
I want to speak to that real quick. Like, I came out 13 years ago when I was 14, and I knew, not that I was trans, but that I was a boy. I had to go through a lengthy process of therapy and seeing an endocrinologist and like go through different tests and exams to make sure that this was real to everyone else involved.
Right, Slovakia. The first thing, you know, because I think it probably would add more to the video if I just pointed out the things she said. The studies very clearly. Luca, the woman, originally woman, whatever, that has a fucked up body, she said that those studies that they were talking about are basically done by money hungry American, whatever, I forgot what they said, and that, you know, it's not really helpful. They're going to basically say, you know, or I don't know what the word is, like push them to believing that yes, yeah, you're as a child, you definitely want to, you definitely need to do it. Okay, it will make you happier. Okay, and you know they want to do that because apparently, wait, how much does it cost? More than $100. More than 100,000. More than 100,000. That's crazy.
transitioning and being trans was just a process I went through to become who I always knew I was. It wasn't a like decision that I made. It was a life or death thing for me. And if I hadn't gotten on hormones and gotten surgery at 16, I don't know if I would be here.
As a father.
No, stop. Slakia. It's just me. Honestly, like, this like really pushes and makes these, I don't know, I guess conservative white men, so-called white men, seem a lot more valid when they call people like this snowflakes, okay? Because he literally said, okay, that person literally said that they don't think that they would be alive right now if they didn't transition. That is like, I'm not, that's a stupid question for me to ask. Of course, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because, like, bro, okay, Slakia, let me get this. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. For Yahawah is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. The Most High is not an author of confusion. Like I believe I said before, when I was just watching the video the first time and I was looking at them, I was literally trying to understand who was what and what was what. Okay, obviously I know what transition means, and I obviously know what detransition means as well. But looking at it's just a completely different thing. They literally made me think that I don't know what detransition means. Okay, I literally had to Google it and check, am I tripping or is this actually what I think it means? Like, this is some literal hardcore confusion. I actually was confused. Okay, let me get this. Like this. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 14. I have seen all the works that are done, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. This type of stuff vexes me. It really does, because I'm like, not only does it like make me feel annoyed and dumb when I'm just hearing people say these types of stuff, but like it just makes me angry hearing people say like stuff that's just flat out wrong. Okay, and on top of that, like say you look at someone you think is a woman, okay, and you think, oh, that woman looks good, I'm gonna go holler at her or whatever, and then it turns out that person was born a man. Then what? Okay, like that really just it let me calm down, because it really just, it's not a good feeling or anything like that. It gets to you. That's all I'm saying. It gets to you. Slakia, one last thing. About this whole if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be here today. Like, it just goes to show that from the smallest things that they want to act like something so small, something so like, it's not something that's physically killing you. Okay, like by that same logic, all of the prophets, the elect, okay, we should be dead because of the pain the mental pain, Slakia, the mental pain that we constantly have to go through. Okay, not only just from being under Esau, having to work, being at the bottom of being at the bottom of the barrel citizens, but just on top of all that, the stupidity that we have to fucking hear every single day. It is not a fun thing. It is not a nice thing to hear / see. Okay, he is a fuck. Oh my, stop. Let me calm down.
Get sick. I would be here.
As a father, I have 4 kids, and so, and also as a trans person, I think that knowing what it looked like for me as a child, and that experience of going through all of the turmoil and all of the trepidation around.
Slock, do I even need to say anything? Do I need to say something? Okay, you heard what he said. You heard him.
My gender identity, I would not put my children in that situation. And also, I don't think that surgeries should be allowed for minors. Like, when we look at the data and we look at the statistics and we look at the research, the vast majority of these surgeries are happening to adults. They're not minors. So let's start there, right? And then further than that, if we look at puberty blockers are reversible. So when it comes to children, when we talk about puberty blockers, that gives them a shot.
Yeah.
And it gives them autonomy over their bodies. It gives them a space that they can explore their expression. They can explore who they are without surgeries, without all of these other things that could have permanent effects. My kids were maybe 8 and 10 when I started my transition. And so I talked to them in kid terms. I told my son, I said, look, you know, your mom, dad wants to be a dad because that's how I feel. And my kids being so young, they understood it. They were like, okay, we're with it, you know? And so as they got older, I would bring them into my world and get them to understand the things that maybe I was, now that they're adults, they understand differences in people, not just trans people, but people in general.
So there is such thing as gender fluid. How
Yes.
do you know that this kid is not going to change their gender expression later on? We really actually don't have studies on children that are taken over long term, like over 10 years, 20 years. Testosterone 14 years. One of the oldest trans men, Buck Angel, he almost died from testosterone. You're saying right now it saved your life, you may still die from it. You don't know. You're
die
still
happy.
Exactly.
I was waiting for this bitch to fucking say that. Like, I'm Slakia, just like, do you understand that these people are dead ass? They are actually anti-life. Okay, they want to find they don't realize that they are doing the elite's job for them in the whole depopulation thing. They are taught, they are, I don't know, groomed, if you want to say that to actually believe in all this, in these death styles. Okay, it's not a lifestyle, but a death style, something that is pushing people towards death. Okay, and in that sense, okay, why are you trying to push that on to other people? If you want to die, there are faster ways to die. There are better ways to die. And why don't you keep that to yourself rather than trying to push that and force it onto other children? Okay? Which I don't even need to talk about it because Luca's going to do it for me. All right?
You'll die for ideology, and a lot of people have died for an ideology.
It's not an ideology.
But we have
It is. You'll die for ideology, and a lot of people have died for.
Yeah, I said it's a death style, and that truly it is an ideology that he's dying for. Honestly,
An ideology.
It's not an ideology.
But we have
It
more
is.
people that are
Who I am.
dying because
It's an
they're not
idea that you were
allowed
born
to
in the wrong
express
body.
themselves.
bro, like I already, I'm just gonna let you guys know. As of me recording this video right now, my head just started to hurt again. Okay, like I might get sick again. but they're saying people are dying because they can't express themselves. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean?
It's not an ideology.
But we have
It
more
is.
people that are dying
It's
because
an
they're not
idea that you were
allowed
born
to
in the wrong
express
body.
themselves. Look at the suicide rate of transmasculine folks is at 55%. And one of the factors that could save their lives is support, right? And so if we have folks that are committing suicide because they're not allowed to transition, how do we fix that? If you're telling me the transition for children or minors is something that shouldn't be done.
The first here, I'm very sensitive to this subject, as I've been the person who has had to talk people off the ledge when it comes to suicidality. The discussion around how we talk about suicide is a very dangerous.
I'm gonna rewind it because this is funny as fuck. All right, you'll see.
For children or minors is something that shouldn't be done.
The first here, I'm very sensitive to this subject, as I've been the person who has had to talk people off the ledge when it comes to suicidality. The discussion around how we talk about suicide is a very dangerous one in this community. You know, my parents were told, do you want a dead daughter or a living son? That's not an appropriate way to talk about that.
And I understand that, but it is our transmasculine youth
I understand
that
that
are at the highest risk
I
of
understand that,
suicide.
and they deserve help, but we also need to have a responsible conversation that is not using suicide as a means to push them down a pipeline before they have that comprehensive care.
So I have a question.
So, Maurice, I know you've been wanting to say
Yeah, no,
something.
because I have a big problem. Oh, yeah, no, so I'm not an interrupter. What I'm going to say is we insult children, our youth, so much by taking away their autonomy and their own agency over their own decisions and insulting that they know who they are. Like, an adult knows who they are more than they do. No one knows who I am more than I do. Right. And it's always been that way. I've always known who I was. I've never felt like I was in the wrong body. I just had to adjust my body. And so I think the way kids' agency and the right to their own body is, it's anti-human.
Okay, so then you're saying a kid, what if a kid knows, what if a kid wants to know, oh, I want to drink alcohol, I want to smoke drugs, and even kids are smoking drugs even when they're younger, smoke cigarettes and all this stuff like that. Well, whatever, let her talk. Slocky.
A question, do you believe minors should be able to get tattoos or plastic surgery or consent to the illicit?
That's
I
different.
understand they are different things, but to what level
to
what level do we give children bodily autonomy over everything they do? Because here's the thing, children need barriers. In childhood development, you need barriers, and they need a safe way to push against those barriers. And I worry with the current medical system that instead of giving them a safe way to express themselves and push against barriers, we have taken some of those barriers away. And that is why you see more detransitioners, because those barriers have been lifted.
Yeah, they're not just doling out surgeries for children. That's not happening
I had a
anywhere.
letter from a therapist in a single visit at the gender clinic office.
And
before
that
I
was
had the
abuse from
first.
that therapist who did not psychoanalyze the rest of you.
Bro, did you see that? Like, now this is the type of shit that makes me angry. She literally is an example of what happened. She said from one visit to a therapist, one letter, that's all it took. And then now it's a big deal. It's a big fucking deal. She got the support. She got her parents to help her. With all the crap that they were fucking talking about, they were saying that, you know, these kids need shit. And now she's in this predicament. Okay? These people are fucking stupid.
Right, and that
Yeah, because your issues weren't being trans. There were a lot of other issues that you were
I have a
addressing right
diagnosis
now.
of gender dysphoria as
Then
well.
you shouldn't. You were misdiagnosed.
No, I haven't.
Right.
Yeah, you got to get a second opinion, honey.
And how was I supposed to do that when my parents were told
That's
that I
not
would
your
kill
fault.
myself?
But your parent.
Okay, did you just hear what she said? She said if she didn't go through with it, their parents said, Slakia, she was told when she was young, if you do not transition into a boy, you are going to kill yourself. That's literally what she just said. She just said that that's what happened when she was younger. Her parents talked her, pushed her into that lifestyle that she now regrets. And now they're wow.
Your parents
Their biggest crime in all this was trusting in a medical system that they thought would help me, and the professionals apparently not doing the right thing
I
here.
understand, but your parents were responsible for the decisions that were made on your behalf.
So now the parents are responsible for what happened to her. But you guys are trying to say that the kids are able to make that decision themselves. Do you see the confusion? Do you see the confusion here that they are boldly spouting out like idiots?
I think that what this really highlights is the importance of you sharing your story, because what it shows is that you can't jump into these transitions, and you shouldn't listen to these doctors that push you to transition just because you're feeling a certain way.
Social media brainwashes teens to believe that they're trans.
I have to agree on that one. Like, there's this thing about it.
Right.
Like, yeah, there's this play that they have.
Slakia, I genuinely do not know jack shit about that, so I might have to, well, whatever, let's find it.
I don't think that it necessarily brainwashes children, but I think there are a lot of people who get into being queer or trans because it's trendy. And I know that's a really controversial statement to make as a trans person, but I've seen it, I've experienced it, and I also find that social media, especially apps like TikTok, give a lot of these kids so much misinformation and lead to people thinking they're trans when there are much deeper issues, and everyone just wants to belong and find an identity, especially when they're young.
I think brainwash is such a strong
that's
word
a very
to use
aggressive
there.
word. That's why I hesitated to step forward.
And that's why I would step in and actually say it's more so of like a social contagion. What got me to transition in the first place was social media. It had a grasp on me that there could be something else out in the world for me during that discovery, and I played it to the fullest, 100%. I even passed as a female for a good, what was it, 6 years out of the 7 that I transitioned. And later down the road, I went and paid out of pocket and talked to just a regular therapist, and she made me start questioning my own existence in a way, what I can do as a human being, not just as a male or a female, but what can I contribute to the society. And it made me open up to maybe I was born as a male, and it feels empowering to me.
Yeah, I mean, I was heavy on social media. Like in my transition, Tumblr, that was the place to be for sure. And everyone was talking about their transition from my experience. And everyone was talking about a lot of mental health issues, depression, and all that. And it was kind of being trendy in that sense. Like when TikTok came out, like that was like a whole nother world. And the biggest thing that I found with that is the negative things that were happening in their transition. There was always like a positive outlook on it, like I'm being who I need to be, like this is great.
The ticket to your happiness.
Yeah, and I like so much on social media, like I made a documentary on my transition, and I really went into depth of like a lot of my depression that I dealt with on that, and I didn't find anyone talking about that.
I personally didn't think I was trans till I saw earlier trans YouTubers before I was just gender bending man. And for sure, I also feel like comparing yourself on social media to other people that are more beautiful and successful will create dysphoria of some kind. And some people,
it will affect your self-image for sure.
Because we see all those beautiful trans women that are old up.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think that's it on that particular topic. I guess I want to hear what the disagrees have to say, but ultimately, it very much so. I think the main takeaway is the fact that a lot of people can be pretty influenced, I guess, relatively easily. I'm pretty surprised. Personally, I'm pretty surprised at the amount of people up here that said that they did in fact get influenced by it, and I don't know really what else besides that. Like, I'm pretty surprised.
We agree with that. All right, can the disagree step forward?
Yeah, okay, so my thoughts on social media and everyone suddenly looking or being trans. I think whoever is leaning towards that or looking towards being trans for answers was always someone that felt that way or felt some type of way about their gender or their identity or the way they present themselves. They're just going to go that way. I know plenty of femme twinks who went the muscle.
All right, Slakia, I need to address that because I had a argument with someone about a similar, parallel topic, because they were basically saying that if someone sees something and they want to partake with it or they agree with it just from seeing it like or whatever, just from being exposed to it, then that means that that was always in them in the first place. Okay, and the thing about that is, no, that is not true. People are very impressionable. I think that's the word I was looking for before. People are very impressionable, okay, and they are, for the most part, like monkey see, monkey do. If they see something that appeals to them, then they just want to copy it. That the primary types of people that do that are people that aren't more so like followers, more so like drones or whatever. I guess bots or NPCs, as people like to call them. It is not it's not more so well, it is not something that is just in them. Okay, it's just the fact that, okay, well, this seems cool, let me copy this. Or it also leads into like, attention seeking, just like how people copy all these I guess TikTok trends of who can steal or who can do the milk crate challenge or whatnot. So it's not, that's just completely wrong. Okay, that also goes into when I was talking to someone, about what is or who is or what is God in a sense that they were saying like, oh, God is within us. Okay, so if say for example the scripture be my people, okay, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Most High, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Most High. And for I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. Okay. So basically, number one, if the law, like if the law or if believing in the Most High Yahweh was already inside of us, okay, you can say that for literally anyone that's in the truth, okay. If it was already ingrained in us, then we wouldn't be sinning, okay. That's the biggest thing. I'm pretty sure a lot of brothers can tell you that they were just going off while they were in the world, okay. And a lot of us had to change up our lifestyles, drastically, in order to correct ourselves, okay. Like one of the biggest examples was I loved pork, okay. Like I literally could not go if I were to ever cook, or if I were to ever go to a fast food restaurant, which I don't go to fast food restaurants anymore, I would always say, hey, give me that bacon cheeseburger, give me that bacon, whatever. I would put bacon on whatever food that I would cook myself, okay? Like I would literally need bacon on damn near any meat dish that I would make. All right, and that was something that was a big part of my life. Like you could literally ask my family, like, oh, what's Kawa Cub's best or favorite food at fucking Checkers, and everyone would say the bacon cheeseburger, okay, because I would always get that. But now I don't do that anymore. Changed for me, but the fact that the laws are not in our inward parts, the fact that something isn't already in us, okay, the fact something's not already in us, all right, is like that's proof that it's not, okay, because if it was the case, then we would have already been doing it or already been following that type of thing prior to being exposed to it properly. All right, so yeah, like that's one of the things about repenting. We repent by stopping ourselves from doing what we used to do. All right,
Queen pipeline. It's not a rare occurrence. And so just experience your life, have fun, try not to take social media seriously because no one is advertising their failures. It's all fake.
Yeah, but I think it is also important to say that social media is very, very effective. I personally scroll on TikTok and I'm like, do I have OCD? Do I have autism? Like all these different things. Like it can suck you in. So it's important to be aware of those things.
I have a question for Samantha, since you have the largest platform here. Do you believe over the years you've inspired people to transition?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think that I've inspired people to believe that it's okay to be transgender, it's okay to express themselves, and that it's possible to live a happy and successful life.
How do you feel about the fact that some of them are going to regret the body modifications they got and going to have
I think that they should go to a doctor that is well versed in gender care.
I think that I think that was hilarious, and that was very well done by I don't know who they are, and I don't feel like disrespecting them right now since they are speaking some facts, but I will definitely applaud them for calling her out. Do you see that? Did you just see that? I just fucked up. All right. Anyway, calling this person out on their basic BSing. Okay, they did not agree with the prompt where the prompt was social media brainwashes teens to believe that they are trans. This person did not step forward because they don't believe in that. Then they want to say, okay, well maybe yeah a little bit, and I did inspire people, and then basically just going against and contradicting, what she believed. All right.
And have analysis done beforehand. That's not.
And now instead of taking responsibility, she's trying to deflect and saying that, okay, well, it's the doctor's responsibility. It's this, when we already were exposed and told that the doctors aren't always, or therapists, whatever, is not responsible or not caring. They just want the money. Okay, especially with the example of Luca.
And I feel like a lot of folks are going to social media looking for possibility models. They're looking to see if they're okay. I know for me, when I was very young, looking to see if there were other people like me, because for a long time I thought that I was the only one. Exactly. Right. And so feeling like that, like suicide was a thing for me, right? And so when I did see a possibility model, when I did see somebody that looked like me, that put me in a space where I was like, I'm okay.
I will say there's also a difference from like showing people that you can have a positive life and then telling them what to do. So I think you on your channel are kind of like, hey, look what I was able to do and how it's made me feel, versus like, you should do this because I did that.
I try my best to be very upfront.
Right, because we can't help if someone's going to change their mind on something. Like, that's inevitable.
Yeah.
We're humans.
And I have to jump on one more thing with that. Like, if I'm watching her channel and it inspires me to transition, I have been watching white straight men be not wanted to be president once, so I don't identify with that. We're going to talk about brainwashing. Let's talk about where we see things every single day happening a certain way versus someone just living their life authentically.
Oh yeah, but like at the same time, that's like saying, okay, look at what's his name, Obama. She literally gave a terrible example because Obama becoming president was a huge inspiration for so-called black kids. Now they think, oh yeah, we can make it. Oh, now we can do this. Okay, so again, she just fucking cut herself. Anyway, the prompt is: people with gender dysphoria need therapy, not surgery.
People with gender dysphoria need therapy, not surgery.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that one.
We all agree.
I think it's potentially both, though. I think everyone with gender dysphoria needs to go through
Oh my fucking god, bro.
therapeutic process and mental health care before they make that choice for themselves.
Exactly.
I personally confuse a lot of my gender dysphoria for body dysmorphia because no matter how much I feminize my body, till today I still don't feel comfortable in my own body. And now, like, looking among like members of trans community, I see that people keep on getting more and more surgeries on my own body. And now, like, gender dysphoria for body dysmorphia because no matter how much I see that people feminize my body, till today I still don't feel comfortable in my own body. And now, like, looking among like members of trans community, I see that people keep on getting more and more surgeries. The surgeries are no longer affirming. You can just tell that this person is like struggling with body images. I was able to get on estrogen pretty quickly when I was 22, and my mental health declined afterwards. And I attributed it to being still in the wrong body, needing more body modification, end up getting sex reassignment surgery. I do believe that transition was sold to me as a hardware fix for my mental issues that were not addressed. I still struggle with internalized homophobia that pushed me into transition in the first place. I struggle with borderline personality disorder, body dysmorphia. I'm on a spectrum, I'm ADHD, and I have all those issues that were not helped. And I was
What's this prompt? Seems like a fucking waste.
Still struggling with them after transition, and I still do. Overall, after a few years, I came to a conclusion that I was not in the wrong body, that I'm a gender non-conforming man, and yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard, but I've had a lot of binary trans people say that it's not a mental health issue, like, if you're trans, and I know I don't agree with that. Like, I think there's a disconnect between the mind and the body. I guess I'm asking that. Like, it's,
bro, I was actually confused. I don't even know what the fuck you said.
I don't know if you guys have heard, but I've had a lot of binary trans people say that it's not a mental health issue, like, if you're trans, and I know I don't agree with that. Like, I think
who binary what? What? I don't even. Oh my God.
think there's a disconnect between the mind and the body. I guess I'm asking that. Like, it's like, do you think that it's a mental health disorder?
I don't think being transgender is a mental health disorder. I think, you know, gender incongruence is what they're referring to it as now. It's listed as a sexual.
Okay, don't make no sense, but okay. Gender incongruence has been moved out of the mental and behavioral disorders chapter and into the new conditions related to sexual health Trans-related and gender diverse identities are not conditions of mental ill health, and that classifying them as such can cause... Bro, I don't even know what the fuck this means.
Health concern, but the gender dysphoria, which is the symptom that arises when you are transgender, is a mental health concern.
So maybe I'm thinking of, like, that's what I'm trying to say then in a sense.
And then once you are diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and I feel like this is kind of what the prompt is kind of hinting at, if you do have gender dysphoria, the only treatment for that is transition. Whether that be just a social transition, a medical transition, whatever transition.
Oh, okay. I think I'm starting to understand. So, gender dysphoria, okay, is a, what's the word? Medical term used to make to say, oh yeah, this is the green light for people to change into or to transition, okay? And I think it would be like kind of like what's that word? Like it's like marijuana. Like, okay, the same way that you say, okay, hey, I'm doctor, I'm feeling depressed. And then they said, oh yeah, go get some medical marijuana. And in that same sense, it's exactly the same way that they're doing it with transition. They're just letting people have it, pretending like it is reasonably locked away only to those that need it. But in actuality, it's really, given out like candy. Okay, so if as long as you go to, I guess, a therapist, like any random therapist will just say, oh yeah, you have gender dysphoria, go ahead, here's a ticket to go get a transition. And in that same sense, okay, they say, oh, you're stressed out, here's a prescription, go get some marijuana from whatever. Literally the same thing.
That is the only way to heal your gender dysphoria. When I transitioned, the first thing my mom said to me was, can't you just be gay? It hurt hearing that, but a big reason that she said that was she was afraid of what my dad would think. He's always been very, very...
Wait, hold on. Okay.
Conservative, very traditional, you could say. He would make comments about trans people, about gay people growing up, so I always knew that he wasn't necessarily accepting. So when it came down to me transitioning, I said to him, I'm going to do this. Either you're going to be the dad that accepts me and supports me through it, or, like, goodbye. And he chose to support me, and we're closer than ever now.
And I think a lot of us go through medical transitions to easier go through social transition.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, and so a lot of our folks that do transition and may detransition, both experiences are valid, but also understanding that we're not mentally ill because we're trans, right? And I think that there should be
no, but yes, you are. Yes, you are. That's how they're. What? Yo. Did he just fucking Oh my God, bro. They just contradicted themselves. Gender dysphoria is a mental illness, excuse to be, is an excuse. Gender dysphoria is a mental illness, yes, but it's also an excuse used to make someone trans. So yes, they are mentally ill. That means that they're mentally ill. And they also said that that is what is needed for therapy and also by extension, surgery. So yes, they are. Like, do you see how I'm like
psychiatrist or someone within behavioral health to be able to say, okay, you're in the right frame of mind to make this decision, but I want to just make it very clear that trans people are not dealing with mental health because they're trans.
Absolutely.
I disagree. I feel like
call the line, YAHAWAH and His.
make it very clear that trans people are not dealing with mental health because they're trans.
Absolutely.
I disagree. I feel like transgender is definitely, and elderly trans people afford for it to be classified as mental illness, so it's covered by insurance. Otherwise, why are you getting the surgeries to?
Because
It's not a medical condition.
The dysphoria is a medical condition.
It is, but it's in your head. I would say that you have some kind of mental disorder if you're trying to mimic a stereotype of opposite sex.
Right,
to
but
pass
it's
in
not a
society.
mimic.
The
It's
treatment for this
aligning.
mental illness is to transition.
I have a question though, because I have a gender dysphoria diagnosis. I always have. But I'm still where I am today.
Can I give you my honest opinion? I think that you were probably misdiagnosed.
I don't think I was.
So you
Do you
do
feel
have gender
dysphoria in your body?
I certainly do now.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
I mean,
because of the
you
treatment.
want to talk about now, but at the time,
At the time, did you?
I genuinely believed I did. I thought it would save me. And then looking back, I realized that my dysphoria stemmed from some severe trauma that was not handled.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that mental health step is so important.
Yeah,
Because I've heard this from several other, mostly female detransitioners who we had some form of pretty bad trauma that spawned gender dysphoria symptoms.
Yeah.
And we can disagree about misdiagnosis or something later, but it felt real at the time for
Yeah,
me.
no, I'm sure that I didn't mean
And
that.
no, I know.
Yeah.
That is hilarious that they are trying to invalidate what she's feeling. They're trying to invalidate what she's feeling because she's not on their side. But then when the same person does it to them, then that's when it's a big fucking problem. And they can't say, oh, transphobe, because she was, and she regrets it. And she wasn't even the one who initiated it. It was her parents. That's crazy.
And it's one of those things where that's where the mental health treatment really needs to come in and get to the root of that issue, because oftentimes, specifically with the detransitioners I've talked to, that was ignored. I came out to my parents in a mental health facility after telling the therapist that I thought I was transgender. And she told me we had to tell your parents so that way you can get the help you need. It led to me seeing a gender therapist who, honestly, the issues I was facing were never addressed. To this day, no one ever addressed the fact that I had severe trauma and exploitation going on as a young teenager. Instead, I was kind of just affirmed in, you believe this, and instead of even just a little pushback, it led me to the point where the very first medical intervention I ever had was a double mastectomy at 16.
Bro, that is so hilarious that they are trying to, they literally, these therapists are literally just for the bag. They're literally just trying to push them into one thing. So a therapist is supposed to be talking about their problems, trying to identify what the problem is, and verbally resolving the problems. But she just said that it was never addressed. It was never resolved. Like she said, she felt she had experienced trauma, sexual exploitation at a young age, and none of that was addressed. It was just, okay, you know what? You need to go and change your gender. Wow, that's crazy. I would love to see a gender therapist session. A gender therapy session.
After that, I started testosterone because it was the next step of what I was supposed to do.
God intended for there to be only two genders.
Now, I'm sure, whatever. Obviously, also, whoever just side can eat a dick. Obviously, the Most High YAHAWAH definitely intended for there to be, two genders. And, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of nervous because, you know what, fuck it. If they say something disrespectful, they can just hit these curses.
Okay, you go first.
Okay, so as a Christian, I truly believe that God created male and female, and He created that throughout life, throughout the nature, throughout the wildlife, throughout Earth itself. And then the arguments come up into the ocean sides of, well, there's these asexual creatures and stuff like that. Well, they were designed that way for a reason, and we humans were not designed to. We were designed to procreate and be able to bring life back to the earth, because we live and we die, we live and we die. It's a rotation of a process of life in itself, and it's its own journey. So I truly do believe that there is male and there is female, but I can respect people's choices. However, that's where I stand on it.
well, I'm not Christian, but I do believe there's only two biological sexes, and somehow that's how it's been designed, whether it's by higher power or by evolution. I do believe gender expression has been on a spectrum for centuries. So we do have references to people who've been cross-dressing, we have references to eunuchs, and as somebody who went through transition and detransition, when I started taking testosterone, it's almost like it reminded me of my original blueprint, and I feel like I went against my original blueprint, and I did a lot of damage to it, and I just cannot go back to who I was, because without my testicles, I'm just too far gone in my transition. So that's where I'm at.
Can the disagree step forward?
Yeah, we have historically spent more time focusing on and selling.
Slakia, I just want to say, hearing Jake, or I guess Eve, talk the most shit pisses me the fuck off. I absolutely hate these 2/3 ass niggas. Need to be done away with. And that's not just for him, that's for any of you who have a problem with the scriptures.
Celebrating. There are several different cultures throughout the world that celebrate the different genders, and to negate the fact that they exist and to negate their validity is just wrong.
There are as many intersex people as there are redheaded people on the planet. I can name 12 people off the top of my head who are born intersex. So to pretend like there's man and woman is just erasing an entire group of people. The God you speak of, the first God that intersex people get to meet, is the doctor, because it's up to their discretion of just what you're going to be. When they mutilate, the first God that intersex people get to meet is the doctor.
What? She said, but like this is the thing. Like these Babylonians paint different things, different people as gods. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And then look at the doctor. Look what the doctor, that first God, did to that woman, to Luca. Luca fucking is miserable. She said her body is falling apart. That's what that God did to them. All right? Let me get this. Judges chapter 10 verse 14. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. Alright, that's hilarious. Go ask that fucking doctor to save you. Go ask that fucking doctor to fix that gender dysphoria and all that shit. Okay? He can't. He can't. And that's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Because it's up to their discretion of just what you're going to be when they mutilate their body to be a man or a woman, and that is not fair.
Right.
Mutilate what? A doctor takes a kid out. They see, oh, they have a dick. It's a boy. Oh, it doesn't have a dick. It's a girl. How? Wait, what is she talking about? Mutilate? Are we talking about the transition? Whatever.
Right, and I think also gender and male and female is not the same thing. Yeah, we're talking about gender, which is like gender identity, the social aspects to being a man or a woman. But male and female dictate sex, so like body parts.
I disagree with having sex and gender being two different things. I believe them to be one. So I believe that there is...
Okay.
They're the same. They're one and the same. They're not different, but we have evolutionary problems within humanity, because I also see that there are intersex animals that do exist, and that's how they're born. But I also do believe that the initial design was for man and woman, and then somewhere along the way, viruses, mutations, diseases, plagues, all that type of stuff that we have in the world does play a part back onto the world itself. But I believe the initial intent was for God to create Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. I'm just going to say it.
That's homophobic.
I know it sounds homophobic, and
How is that fucking homophobic? He didn't do it. What? Bro, oh my god. I need to slap my fucking head against the wall. I need to slam my head against the wall.
No, it is. It's
homophobic.
That's okay.
Homophobic made me transition, and that's what you're perpetuating right now.
What? How? No, how? No, I need to know how. How? Acknowledging the fact that the Most High didn't create Adam and Steve? That's homophobic? No way. Genesis 3:20, and Adam called his wife's name Eve. What? What? How? Yo, I'm telling you right fucking now, these devils will look for anything, any straw to grasp on, to get a leg in a conversation that they know they can't win in logically. That is ridiculous.
I grew up in a very homophobic family, and since I was a kid, I was always brainwashed that gay is bad. My not happy that I was naturally feminine. They always tried to make me more masculine. They tried to give me to masculine sports. I was mercilessly bullied at school for my femininity, constantly being told that I'm not a real man, that I'm a sissy. And when I came out to my parents as gay, they took me to therapists and tried to do pretty much conversion therapy on me, which failed.
I don't believe in God. I believe in people that exist right in front of me, and I believe they should have the right to exist. And
Okay, what is this bitch's
on me, which failed.
I don't believe in God.
Okay, Reese, probably. Yaba Shem. I have to do it. No. Yaba Shem Yahushai. Shalak Rayam Wa. Yaba Shem Yahushai. Shalak Rayam Wa Mashpagyam Wa Araryam Wa Ainasham Wa Haragyam Wa Abadyam La Aris Babakasha Aman.
I believe in people that exist right in front of me, and I believe they should have the right to exist. And so
I'm not saying they don't have the right to exist. I'm
no,
just
but
saying, I'm just saying that
I mean,
was the
they weren't
initial
mistakes
intent.
either. They're just here the way you and I are.
Did he say mistakes? I would love, please show the timestamp where he said they were mistakes.
Here right now, and they are who they are, and we have to accept people as they are.
Right, and there are biological differences in trans folks. When we look at the brainstem, you know, our brainstems are different. Like
Neurologically.
Right, neurologically, we're different.
Yeah,
and
male
so
and female are different, exactly.
Trans people are different.
Yes.
They've found a distinct difference in the cortex.
There is no biomarker for trans. Some brain scan of some gay males is identical to female brain, but there is no biomarker for trans. Please don't spread misinformation.
There's science that hints towards it. It's just not confirmed.
No,
Well,
there's research.
So therefore, it falls under the belief that there is, but there's no scientific fact to back that up, which therefore I believe that God's initial intent was to create male
I
and
think
female.
if God intended to, if God exists and in the way that you believe and just intended to make male and female, then
And
we wouldn't be
Stephen-
sitting
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Shalak Rayam Wa Mashpagyam Wa Araryam Wa Ainasham Wa Haragyam Wa Abadyam La Ari Babakasha Aman.
I believe
Intersex
in
people would
power, right, of my own, and God is not this thing that creates rules and binary situations and laws that can be broken or really made. We're just all here.
Yeah.
You know, like
The thing is, like, people do not know, and I knew this was going to piss me off. People do not know what a God is, okay? They want to paint their own picture on what they want a God to be, or what they, no, honestly, what they want the Most High God to be, or I guess I'll just say God in this sense, okay? They want God to be some fucking weirdo that is all that's let me watch what I say. This video gets taken down, but they just want him to be a weirdo, okay? When in actuality, okay, there has to be some rules, and in the same sense, okay, just the same sense that a father, you know, is trying to promote proper behavior, pushing them into the right direction, pushing his children into the right direction and whatnot. Father's going to have rules in his house, okay? They may be able to, just like Samantha said, or Sam said, if you don't, said to her own father, her biological father, I'm going to transition. You either accept me or I don't want anything to deal with you, okay? To do with you, okay? Yeah, you can say that to your biological father, and then they can choose whatever they want. But the Most High he's not a bitch, okay? And for you to even think that he is someone to bitch like that, you are out your fucking mind. You are absolutely out your fucking mind to be thinking something like that. Now they're making me hot. Oh my God, they're making me pissed off. Okay, this is disrespectful, and I cannot get behind this. Oh my God. I hate doing videos like this. Yo, where the frick is it? I know it's in Psalms. Okay, perfect. The YAHAWAH. Psalm chapter 139, verse 19. Surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O Yahweh. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men, for they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. Do not I hate them, O Yahweh, that hate thee? And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. These people that hate the Most High, Yahweh, okay? I hate them, number one, and they are automatically counted as my enemies, all right?
I was born in a female body, but I was never a girl. Never, ever, ever. I can't explain, but that is...
You know why? He can't explain why? Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. His bullshit logic. Okay, there's no logic in it in the first place.
My truth that...
Slocky, also another thing is, he noticed how he said, my truth. Whenever someone says my truth, it's always a lie. There's only the truth. Only the truth. And that's a fact.
That is the fact. That is who I've always been. And there's no way that I'm going to look up at this guy at some guide and be like, oh, yeah, you made me as a mistake.
Kill yourself. Oh my
Transitioning.
Who wants to start?
I can start.
Man, I'm embarrassed.
Not to say my sex life was...
Whatever. Like, we definitely don't need to hear that. It's next.
LGBTQ plus community is not as accepting as they claim.
Whatever. Okay. Yeah, I'm done with this. Fuck this video and fuck these people. That's really it. I despise these people. That's all I really want to. You know, I kind of regret it because now I'm mad, and it's just like what, like really what. Anyway, YAHAWADAH judgment falls on all of his enemies, not just them, but all of his enemies, and we are delivered from this very, very soon. Like, the YAHAWASHI cannot return fast enough. All right, I'm telling you right now. All right, and with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. Not even much a lesson, but maybe you got something out of it or whatever. If you did, call on YAHAWASHI. If you didn't, oh well. But I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. And with that, I want to say Shalom.